Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadhguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. Now what? Q&A? Okay, we'll ask Sumit to come and then I may pick one of you. My dear.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, namaste.
Yeah, since the last time we spoke, I watched a lot of your YouTube videos on your channel and tried to come up with some question. Even tried writing my question down, but couldn't write any question. But for the sake of conversation, at least let me. Uh, in one of your satsang, you were guiding Sebastian, uh, and in that process, you said some line and those lines come to me very often. You said that remember, this is not a fight for attention. Attention can be completely free.
Yes.
It's just a letting go of false notions, which means whatever is perceived, we allow the interpretation of that to come and go without holding or grasping any of it. So
Very good. I mean, if I say so myself, it's very good that you heard that and it's with you. Yeah.
yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
okay. So
But
if no no if we to understand it more correctly, if I say that uh, when we say that something is perceived,
to understand,
and
let's pause for a moment because let's see if the endeavor that we are undertaking is going in the direction of what the pointing is. So now, when we say understand correctly, are we not talking about can we understand conceptually anything other than an interpretation? So the pointing was that let attention go wherever it wants. Just let go of what your mind is interpreting those interpretations, those perceptions to mean. And empty of those interpretations, you are free. You see? Now, the understanding that you are seeking, is it another interpretation that you are seeking, or what is that?
um, means I am not pointing. I'm able to see pointing. I see you're pointing something, but what is being pointed at? That I can't say.
So, empty of interpretation. You see, what is here? What is here that doesn't need any conceptual understanding?
This is just what is means I am here like this. I am perceiving. I am conscious. So
Yes.
this doesn't need any conceptual understanding.
Yes, yes. And this is the very self that you're looking for. Does that which is here, which is known through a deeper knowing than conceptual knowledge, you see? Which basically means independent of any concept or even perception actually, that which is here. Now, does that have any problem or any boundary or any shape?
No,
Is it separate from you?
no.
So whatever answer I may be giving you, I may give you, will, if it just becomes another compartment in your intellect saying, okay, this is how this is, you see, then it will become problematic and it'll have to be plucked out. But the answers are just meant to point you to this openness, nakedness, emptiness.
Okay.
So,
I stay with this.
so I wanted to say is that you heard satsang, you picked on a very important pointer, you see, and it obviously resonated with you in the heart somewhere, and that is why it stayed with you. Now, the mind will say, I need to understand this better. But there's nothing better to understand. You see, it's quite clear that empty of any interpretation, all perceptions can come and go. Therefore, attention can go anywhere and doesn't have to be controlled. But you are free in that pure perception without motions, without interpretation. There's nothing else that is needed because what you truly are is fully apparent to you, but it is inexpressible. You see, therefore, it provides no benefit to the person. It doesn't help us in some personal freedom or some personal enlightenment. You see, so the mind then clamors for it and says, "I want more to get deeper into this and understand this more, so then I can benefit from that." But that is not what it is about at all. You're doing very well. You see, you're doing very well. Now, I don't want to burden you with additional notions, which will just become part of the spiritual ego rather than a true understanding, which is the heart understanding.
Thank you.
So it was not, it was not something that is meant to get you to keep quiet or something. It is just to expose the trick of the mind, which takes on something which is beneficial, and then says, okay, now I want to make an understanding out of this so that I can progress even deeper. But actually, that kind of understanding, a conceptual understanding, will only lead to more conditions, more conditioning, and therefore more ignorance.
Okay.
So, this right now, the unexplainable, is very good. I mean, in a manner of speaking. Can you explain what is right now? And you can start with what is manifest, because unmanifest is unexplainable anyway.
Right now, I am aware that I am in satsang with you. I am sitting here. My body is here, and your image is appearing on screen in front of me.
Yeah. Have you captured everything?
No.
So one moment we are not able to capture conceptually, because even if you had millions of words, you would miss out on something that is here right now. See? And yet, the mind proposes to us a narrative about our life and says, okay, I am a spiritual seeker, I come to satsang for this. You see, but we don't know. Even one moment, we cannot truly capture in our heads. So to be able to capture a life is impossible. So the notion of even wanting or getting or understanding, all of these is based on false pretexts. And I'm trying to chop away all of those pretexts. I'm trying to let go of all the false knowing, which pretends to be a true knowing. That is ignorance, posing as if it is the truth. Now, what is apparent to you in a deeper space, intuitively, and therefore absent of notions, you are not lost. When you're open and empty, are you lost? But the proposal from the mind is that without me, you are lost. But that is not your experience. See, the no mind
But that has been a habit.
Exactly, exactly. So that's why Guruji calls Satsang a de-addiction center.
Okay.
So, so Satsang is not an environment in which we propagate the habit even more by giving you more concepts to feed on. You see, there's a lot of talk may be happening, but all the talk is meant to be deconstructive or dilutive and not constructive conceptually.
Yes.
What is missing in the no mind? In your notionless existence, you're as free as the greatest sage. In the unborn, there is no distinction between you and the greatest sage. Very well. Very well. Let's see. Which one intuition calls upon. There are two Saras from USA. Let's look at the same one. You have separate audio and separate video, is it? You want to come up on?
Yes, I would love to. Can you unmute my other one?
Can I? Okay, let me see. Now say something. Now we don't hear you. Let me unmute this one. You're saying, okay. Let's try this one. Now say something.
Okay, how about now?
Good, good. Kind of. Okay, let's try.
Is this better?
Yes, yes, my dear. Go ahead.
Okay, I couldn't find, my computer is an older version, so I couldn't find the raise hand.
No.
I signed in on my phone to get, get you. Thank you, thank you. I just felt to come up because the, I can see that it's all mind, but there's a very, very heavy sort of just a very heavy state that I wanted to look with you because I can see it's not about changing any circumstances.
Yes.
Although the person would like that, but I know that's not the true answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the heavy state, when you say that, it's like an energetic construct which seems constrictive. Is that what it is?
Yes, and it carries with it very heavy thoughts and seems to block just even the simplest sort of action. And yeah, it's just sort of like a hopeless, like there's no way out of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just for a moment, is there space to just look at who is suffering from this?
Yes, yes.
So that which perceives this heaviness, is that which perceives this heaviness also heavy as a result of this perception?
Well, I know that it isn't, and
Yes.
there's like a little bit of a doorway in,
Yes.
but it feels a bit conceptual at the moment.
Yes. So just take your time and don't worry about conceptual knowledge, because everyone here knows the right answer.
Yeah,
The
exactly. Yeah.
question is just to see if we can recognize it fresh in this moment.
Yes. Can you ask again?
Yes, my dear. So there's a perceived state of heaviness, which supposedly is energetic. Now we're just checking whether that which perceives this heaviness also becomes heavy as a result of this perception.
No.
It doesn't. It doesn't. So then this that perceives this energy is not affected by it. Who else is there?
Well, there's like a someone who's believing. There's a sense of a someone who's interpreting this energy.
Yeah. So let's keep observing. So interpretations are arriving or arising in the mind. Heaviness is perceived, these interpretations are perceived. Is the one who is getting affected by any of this, is that perceived?
What was the very last part?
The one that is affected by these perceptions, can that be perceived?
Right now it feels like no, like there's just one that's interpreting, and that's the only one.
Which one is interpreting?
Me.
What is the shape of that one?
Well, at this moment it feels like this body, but I know that isn't.
Yeah. This body is fine in a way. It does not want freedom. It does not want to come to satsang. It's a pretty innocent instrument. Actually, it's not asking you for anything. It is just sitting there. It's fine. But there's a notional entity. This emotional entity means just made up of beliefs, made up of identification, which has likes and dislikes, preferences and ideas. It has an idea of heaviness or lightness. You see,
Yes.
because what is appearing, it is heavy in relation to what?
Well, it's all in relation to the belief that I am this body, and that these things that are occurring are a challenge for the body.
Yes, but heavy as compared to what being light? Just an idea that if it was not there, then that would be my natural state. You see, so there's an idea that without this, I am better off, and that is the idea of lightness or openness. You see, versus when this is there, they may be saying, okay, this should not be there. Now, if you did not have that distinction, you see, because you can't find the one who is affected by it anyway, and if you did not have that distinction, Or if we can do a quick experiment, and if I was to say that all those who are feeling exactly the heaviness that Sarah is feeling right now will be forever free from this time onwards. You see, but they have to continue to feel this for the next 15 minutes. So then would you want it to go away?
No.
Maybe. Well, keep it. Oh, stay for 15 minutes at least because I want you to be there. You see? So it's just a switch in mental perspective has gone from something resistive to something inviting, in fact, welcoming and even celebrating. That this is a good deal, you know, just 15 minutes of this, and then I'm free forever. You see? So you see that it's never in the perception itself. It is always in the idea that we have about it that determines our position with regards to it. So the experiment was not so that you become welcoming or inviting about it. It is just to show you that either position is actually ignorance, and just open to whatever may be arising is the truth, is freedom. See, because freedom doesn't mean that something cannot come or only good feelings should come or these energies should come. It is not like that. Everything is allowed to come, and that is why it is freedom. In the recognition that what you truly are remains untouched by anything that may come or go.
Can I say what's coming?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so there's a knowing, and there's like there's a knowing that what you're saying is true, but how to let go of, or how to there's a frustration because it's like, I know what you're saying is true, and yet there's still a preference, or there's still an experience of suffering something and a lot of pain, and yeah.
Yes, my dear. I'll give you a tip. This will be very helpful. So there's an aspect of your existence. There's a playground within your existence where this fight can happen. Like the knowing of the truthiness of what I'm saying, you see, or the trueness of what I'm saying, and the frustration that I can't let go, you see. So that aspect of your being, you see, let that go for a moment and check what else is there to you. Don't conclude anything there. Leave it. Whatever battles are happening there, let them happen. Okay. Is there what there is to you, or is there something more?
There's a something that there's an awareness that that's sort of just going on.
Yes, yes. Just audit your beingness and see how much of the space of your beingness does your mind intellect take up. How big is it compared to your being? Just check for yourself.
It's very small.
It's very small. And yet, in the human condition, we have somehow become obsessed with resolutions in that tiny playground of the mind intellect. You see? And in that we miss the godliness of our beingness, which is so beyond all of these tiny concepts and constraints.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the way to let it go? Is to let go of any idea of resolution or conclusion. If it didn't matter to you what happened in that boxing match, you see, between your concepts, and you just leave that boxing ring alone, You'll be free. And that's why I was asking the previous questioner that without relying on that space, are you lost? Are you lost?
No.
There's nothing that you need to know conceptually to exist. Existence exists effortlessly and plays out in its most beautiful light. But if we determine something in that conceptual area, that this is how it should be, this should not be here, these kind of things, then that sort of puts a lens to the rest of the experience of our divinity and makes us believe ourselves to be this tiny body-mind object, which we can never be actually. So to come to freedom is not to be able to conclude the best conclusion in that playground. It is to let go of that playground. Now, sometimes the playground will scream, you see. There'll be screams from the playground coming, come, look at me. We need to do this. Just let go. Nothing is being hurt. If you visit there, where you're visiting now, you will only find trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't visit there. It's fine.
Well, and I can see they're like looking for something to hold on to.
Yeah.
Even, and I remember you saying, like, really, we're only in, we say we're in service to the guru, but really we're in service to our highest concept.
Yeah.
And
Because let me ask you this. If your guru did not help you at all, would you be in service to him or her?
yes.
Good, that's a good answer. But usually the answer is no, I am in service to my guru because he will give me freedom or he will show me the way. You see? That's the usual thing. And if the guru did not do any of that, then it would be a useless guru. I'm not saying in your case, I love your answer, but usually, at least here, when I was spiritual shopping, I went to various gurus as long as they were serving me, then I was serving them. And when my mind concluded that they are not serving me in any way, I'm not progressing, I'm not finding the truth, then I said, I need to find a better place to go. You see, so the highest concept of ourselves being, or actually the lowest or highest, is this notion of me. As long as something is in service to that, we agree to have a relationship with that. But the guru is actually the one relationship which is plucking out this concept of me.
Yeah.
And many times in satsang, many will feel like, but this is not helping me at all. Why should I stay here? It's not helping me at all. But the thing is that we don't recognize that the me that we think needs help actually is the one that needs to be plucked out.
Yes. 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 there's a sense of being so with you in that.
Yes. Very good. That which is true will remain as apparent without reference to the mind. The truths will remain apparent. It is only the false which is let go. Very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good. For a little bit of time, it may seem as if it takes some effort to disinvest from this little playground of mind intellect. It may seem like it takes a bit of effort, and if it feels that way, just make the effort. It's fine. Very good. Okay. Thank you, Mother. Let's go to Saloni. I have not heard from Saloni before. Let's go to Saloni.
Hello, hi. Namaste, Ananta-ji.
Yeah, namaste.
This is the first time I'm coming to your satsang. I have been following Muji from the last 1 year, and I came to satsang maybe because I was diagnosed with depression 3 years before, and I was suffering a lot. But when last year I discovered Muji, there were many teachers like Eckhart Tolle and others also whom I followed, but uh, it was an intuition to stay with Muji.
Yes.
And there were several periods of like I was normal for 2 to 3 months, and then I was hard hit by depression. And so it happened once, and then after that, I had to continue my medications. And then and then there was a sudden explosion of like truth, and everything seemed so divine. Like everything seemed so beautiful. Everything, people around me changed. They said that I feel peace near you. And they used to report very nice things being by my side. But it remained till this January and till this April also. In April it was very beautiful, but after that I don't know what happened. But from May I am still struggling with myself. From May I am struggling with myself, and then it happened not all the days I used to struggle, but it happened that some days it was very nice inside, and before I was in pain, and there was so much pain and suffering. But after the insight, like everything shed, the pain shed, and the suffering shed, the fear shed, and everything became so beautiful. But again the depression came, and it used to oscillate. Like insights came and everything became beautiful, and then depression came. And so it happened that recently Muji has been sharing that take one pointing and stay with that. Take one pointing that resonates with you and stay with that. And so I found that watching satsangs is like I used to love watching satsangs, but now with this depression, it become hard for me to continue watching that. and also I am my family, my parents don't support me in this, because sometimes I feel so anxious, and I want to tell that to my parents, like I watched this and I want to clarify this, but they don't support. They are not supportive in spirituality. So I now told my parents that I have been watching Muji, and they became so so angry and so frustrated with me, and they have asked me to stop watching him. And they have asked me so intensely that uh, if they again see me watching him, they might abandon me also. But that doesn't affect me much. I would continue watching him if I am able to uh, watch him and am able to apply his pointings. But for this time, I want to marinate in one pointing that I want to clarify with you. That one pointing is that that brought fruits also, was that everything from the subtlest, from the feelings, like everything was perceivable, and nothing can exist out of like nothing can exist out of the perceiving space. Like everything is in this scene, like even if it comes, no, everything is not in the scene, it's also perceivable. And this I wanted to clarify that should I stay with this?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Firstly, thank you for this beautiful report. And I see that my Master's Grace is taking care of you, and I'm happy to serve that grace in whichever way His will moves His body. I'm happy to be in service to that. Now, you said something very beautiful where Guruji has been pointing and saying, just take one pointing that resonates in your heart and really contemplate, go deeply into that, allow it to do the entire cleanup operation. But one tip I want to give you about this is that don't then keep an expectation about what it should do. Because if you keep one thing in your heart, but that one thing actually is so that it can help an apparent you, then that is actually holding two things in your heart. And actually the second one, which is that I hold this one thing so that it helps me, is the primary. And it is somewhat similar to what we were talking about earlier. You see? So that development of trust has already happened, where you've seen that being in satsang has brought so much clarity, so much intuitive intelligence to your life. You see? Now, just based on that trust, follow the pointing which resonates with you. And it's a beautiful pointing to see that everything is seen. Everything is seen, you see. And therefore, by virtue of it being seen, it comes and goes. And therefore, it is not permanent. So, to not get attached to that is the crux of the pointing. So, it's a beautiful pointing and it'll do the cleanup job. But if you keep evaluating and checking on how well it is working or not, is it doing the cleanup, how much cleanup happened today, you see, am I feeling happy today as a result of this or not, then you find that actually it is not the pointing which is primary, it is the desire or the expectation of what you want it to do which is primary, you see. Now, a devotion to a master or devotion to the Sadguru presence is so all-encompassing that it sort of demands a devotion which is independent of what you want out of it. And I know the mind will complain and say, but I came into this because I was depressed. So if it doesn't help me with my depression, then what is the point? You see? But that is where trust comes in. If everything was rationalizable, then what is the need of trust? Then you got it rationally. Like if it is rational to you that this 2 plus 2 equals 4, then this is just like that. Then there's no need to trust the answer 4. See, trust comes in where you cannot rationalize it to yourself. See, trust is independent. Devotion is especially independent of what you think should happen as a result of following the master's pointing. So it is my blessing and my prediction that if you keep on this self-inquiry, empty of expectation, you see, all will happen in my master's grace. But if you keep checking whether it is happening or not, then it will only seem to prolong the seeming journey. I don't know if she's still with us. Maybe parents came into the room or something. But thankfully, we have the recording, so we can share with them. Okay, let's go to Loni. Loni or Vijaya?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, good to see you. It's been
Good to
many
see you.
years, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I started following you in spring 14 something.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Happy to see you.
yeah, thank you. This head is all over the place, so I don't really know how to. What has happened? You don't remember that, but what happened before I started following you was that everything fell away on a retreat with Muti. Yeah, everything fell away, and it stayed away for 5 months, and then the idea of me started coming back, and then there was the oscillations and periods with openings. That's how I name it, and closings and openings. And of course, I cannot ever be blocked. I know that, but
Take your time.
Yeah, thank you. It's difficult because before these satsangs, the problem is huge. You start talking and pointing, and it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. But it seems like that there's this twig in the sand. You heard Muti's story. Yeah. And there have been many losses since 2013. Relationships, homes, partner, job, health. And the last one came last year, where a bankruptcy.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's huge, and that's the twig in the sand. It's so distracting. So there's this sense of and now fear has showed up. I know it's from the mind, and no, it's not from the mind. Nothing comes from the mind. It all comes spontaneously. It's just thoughts, but it shows up, and there's a fear for the relative level, now you're going to be poor and homeless. And the other one is, and that's bigger, that is to go back to ignorance completely. And that's the worst fear ever. I don't know what to do, and there's no me to do it. And it has been seen so many times, and under that, this is self-revealing and revealing itself, and that's the dance. And nothing else. It's nothing else. But now there's this being caught in this idea.
Yes.
I'm losing it. Yeah.
I have to say that firstly, it's very nice to see you again, and I noticed that there's a certain lightness and openness in your being. Compared to what little memory I have of those times, and even though you seem to be on the worldly level going through some strong challenges as far as the manifest level is concerned, and yet behind all of that I see some openness, some acceptance, some of that, which is very beautiful to see.
Yeah.
often I say that in the human condition, actually, we may think it's very complicated, but actually it's very straightforward. There are four variables, four challenges that all of us face. One is the challenge of relationships. You see, now these can be romantic partner type relationships or other relationships that we have special relationships. You see, so that is the first one. The second one is about security, which means money, work, job, all of these things. You see, the third one is about the health of the body and the fact that no matter what we do, this body is actually on a path towards its death and towards the funeral in one way or the other. So to try and keep that active and alive is the third challenge. And the fourth challenge is the search for meaning or freedom or enlightenment, you see, and wanting to find the ultimate uh, cause of existence, and all of that comes into that. Now, you mentioned that you've gone through like three of these at least, if not all four, and you see, and so life is throwing these things at you, all the challenges that it can have, and yet, you see, you said when you come into satsang, that which seems so big, you see, doesn't seem that big anymore. It just seems to get tinier. And I often face that tantrum actually, saying it's not fair. We have these problems. We want to get the solutions from you, but we come here and we forget the problems, and then we go out again, and those problems seem real again.
Yeah.
Then I say, oh, but there's no way I can help that. But what
I
is
don't
happening?
want you to help
Yes.
that.
I realize that. I realize that. So if I was to ask you, the the sense of being that is here now, is that apparent and palpable to you?
Not all the time, no.
No, just right now.
Right now, okay. Yeah, it is. It has nothing to do with the body.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
At best, the body is another set of sensations or perceptions within
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
See, just
within
use
it.
words.
Exactly.
Just use words. We can say like that.
Yeah.
Now, this being, you see, because the mind will tell you that okay, but it's not all the time. Is it affected by time in any way?
No. No.
So, and when it seems like, okay, I've lost my being, I'm just being a person, these kind of things, there are some times where it will not be noticed and we have to go through those times, and that is fine. But when it is noticed, then we can just ask ourselves, can I stop being?
Hmm.
In spite of whatever may be happening, is my being still here?
Can't stop being. No.
Can't stop being.
No.
Now, whose being is that? Whose presence is that?
The true answer right now would be it's no one's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that no one is God. Independent of what we may believe about God, I'm just using the term. So, but it is the highest presence,
Yes.
the highest beingness, it's the highest force in this universe. You
Yeah.
see, which is your being. It has no boundary, it has no shape, it has nothing to do with coming and going.
Hmm.
You see,
I
it
know.
is just here. So this is what I mean when I say that when we are running around trying to fix things, and I'm not talking about as the body, I'm talking about our inner attitude. Because as the body, it can run around, it is fine. There's no trouble with that. Okay? So when our inner attitude is that of grasping and needing and wanting, we are actually forgetting that God stays in our heart. In our living room, He's sitting, but we are looking all over the place for Him. You see, or her. So this is the beautiful discovery that we come to in satsang. Now, you are aware even of this being.
I know. May I?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Because it's in these openings, it's like what's seen is God, wherever, whatever is
Yes.
God, and I am God.
Yes.
Not in an arrogant way, really.
Yes, yes.
There's no me there, but then at some point that was seen that could be seen too.
Yeah.
And then something collapsed because that seemed arrogant. How? Because I knew that I am that something that can see God, and that didn't, everything collapsed again. Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Everything conceptually may collapse as a result of that insight. You see? As a result of that insight, but that insight cannot go away.
No.
You see? So let everything collapse. Because in that, the notion of the distinction between the manifest and unmanifest, between the absolute and consciousness, between beingness and awareness, all these will also collapse. And that is good news.
Yeah.
That is good news, because even these distinctions are only provisional. Just to communicate in satsang, to point to a qualitative distinction, just to bring you out of the notion of individuality, the masters may use these terms, but these terms are not really real from the absolute perspective. You see? So even these collapse and are just provisional. So the collapsing is actually a good thing.
Yeah. May I ask you one more thing? Because there seems to be, in the collapsing, there seems to be a dissolving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that sometimes closes up, so the identification shows up again, because some fear, because it's really dissolving. It seemed, please correct me, please correct me if, because from here it seemed like everything has already happened and yet nothing ever happened. It's so crazy.
Very beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. And when we speak like that, there is nothing like wrong or right. It's impossible to correct or to validate, you see, or invalidate anything like that, because it is just so beyond the mind.
Yeah.
And anything that is beyond the mind is not in the boundary of right or wrong. It's left the opposites behind. So it's beautiful. It's very nice. You see, but don't make any sort of conceptual understanding out of it, of course.
No, and how to not do that, because mind shows up sometimes and wants to grab it.
Yeah, exactly. Just notice it like that is how to not do it. You see, once you notice that, then you don't do it. You only believe what you take to be true. But if you're already noticing that this is the mind trick and this is what it tries to do, you're not doing it. Don't worry. It's fine. In that noticing, you're not building up this condition. So that itself is good enough.
Thank you.
Welcome. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you. Love you so much.
I love you too. Okay, let's go to. I haven't seen Shankar in quite some time, so we can go to Shankar first.
Can you hear me?
Yes, my love.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good, very good.
Again, like the previous person, it's been years since I've spoken to you.
Yeah, but I'm very happy. I'm very happy to see you, and I do
happy
see
to see you.
I do see your messages from time to time on some Facebook group and things. It's very sweet. Very sweet.
Well, it's wonderful to be here speaking to you again, and just wanted to check in, and it's been so long and so many things have happened, but nothing's changed, Father. Nothing's changed. I don't want to catch you up on my whole personal life, but you better anything. But I just felt to come on and tell you how much I love you, and there's not a day that goes by I don't think about you and Muji, and I've had a lot happen between then and now. But what's interesting, and I think other than a few more gray hairs,
Same.
yeah, right, yeah, same. Same. Um, Nothing has changed, and there was a point where I was so entangled with identity of this person, and through your guidance and love and Guruji's love and guidance, figured out that, or it was shown to me that nothing is here but pure perception, right? And rolling through all the things that have happened over the last couple of years, with that as a tether, I guess is maybe the right word or the wrong word, but as something that I know that this is all just things that I'm seeing.
Yes. Very.
All these events, all these emotions, all these beliefs, all these things, and I was I wouldn't say a spiritual chaser, I will tell you that you came into my life completely accidentally.
Yes.
Completely accidentally, and things have never been the same since. I tell the story a lot to a lot of people, that there was a time when things went from this to that, and the I don't know how to say it. The consistency of awareness is astounding to me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
It's bulletproof.
Yes.
I mean, it's bulletproof. And I've taken a bunch of bullets over the last couple of years, and again, here I am just with some more gray hairs, and that's it.
So good.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's very well put. Very well put. I enjoyed this report very much, because the truth of yourself is never shaken, no matter what happens. I like this bulletproof thing. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's gotten, and I don't want to say it's gotten me through anything, because that's sort of a cliche way to put it, and I don't use it as a mechanism. It's not something that I can even use as a coping mechanism.
Yes.
I don't have a choice but to just perceive all things that happen in me, outside of me, and that's just the way it is now. I've had some struggles, right?
Yeah.
But I think I told you a long time ago, if I woke up tomorrow as a woman, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes.
I'd be the same. I'd be the same person.
Yeah.
Nothing would fundamentally change, and that is that I am unwavering, unbounded, just simple, as Mooji says, floating eyeballs in the middle of the universe.
Yeah.
Just perception. And all these new faces that I see, when I hop on here once in a while, and all the people on Facebook, and I just wanted to kind of report back to you that even though we have not been in contact for years, you are with me all the time, and we are together all the time, and I love you very much. I wish I had something more juicy to tell you.
Oh, this has been the best report, and I always feel like I feel a complete integrity and a complete love and trust in this report, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see you like this, but don't make it another 5 years before you show up like this.
Okay, I promise. I promise.
Very good. I know that in reality, you've been here. I've been with you in your heart. You've been here in my heart. But it's sometimes nice to play this Leela of conversation and things also. It's quite sweet. So,
Yes.
Don't be a stranger.
I'm absolutely not. I'm always at your feet. Love you so much.
Love you, my dear. Very sweet. Love you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Let me go back to Saloni because she's back.
Sorry, Ananta-ji. Actually, what happens is that my parents are completely, strictly not allowing me to be in satsangs. And my mother came and she asked, what are you doing? So I had to disconnect. Sorry,
Oh,
I'm sorry for.
no, it's fine. It's understandable. It's understandable. We guessed as much actually when you left. We guessed as much that your parents may have come.
Thank you.
Now, I just want to remind you, although it's there in the recording, what I said is that you noticed very beautifully that something resonated with Guruji's pointing about how everything is perceived. And by the nature of it being perceived, it is not true, it is not the reality. And therefore, to remember that is to not get attached to anything that is perceivable, isn't it? So that's a beautiful pointing. Now, Guruji pointed to us and said, keep one pointing with you and use that to do the whole cleanup job, so to speak. See?
Yes.
Now, the thing is that what I was
Hey,
advice that came up
how
for
are you?
you.
You're up early.
So the advice that came was that now the one thing requires that you keep just that one thing. Now you're inadvertently keeping two things. The second thing is how that is helping you and how it is changing your state. You see? So then what can happen is the mind can play a trick with you and say, okay, now this is working very well because I'm feeling happy and not depressed. Or on other times, but this is not working and I'm still feeling depressed and not happy. You see? Now, the trust or the devotion to the master requires that independent of what we may think our state is changing based on following a pointing, independent of that, we trust the master and follow. You see, that means that we don't keep our own benchmark reporting, report cards. You see, because otherwise, what can happen is that the master's pointing actually is secondary, as and in service to what we think we want. You see,
Yes.
so when you follow, and it's a great freedom actually. When you follow a master, then let go of everything else. You see, just follow just that. Just follow just that. You see, don't use it as a tool to fix something else. Now, your mind will fight that, of course, and it'll say, "But I came into satsang because I was depressed and I wanted a solution." Now you're saying, don't track that or don't report to yourself on it. Don't make a report card for yourself on it. You see, so your mind will complain like that, but in that tracking and keeping track of your progress and things, it will just become like a spiritual checker guy, which is a spiritual ego, which will want to use pointings from the master to help itself. You see? So freedom means that you trust the master, you're devoted to the master, then you found a pointing which resonates deeply in your heart, then just follow it, independent of what you may think is happening. It'll dissolve all egoic aspects of your being, and the light and the brightness of your pure beingness is bound to flow through. And I am predicting this and I'm blessing this to you, that all of this, you see, in your devotion at my master's pointings and in his heart, you will all that your heart truly is longing for will come true. You see? But if you continue to be the checker guy and saying, okay, it's working, it's not working, then you'll just prolong the suffering. You'll just prolong the seeming journey.
One thing that I want to add is that now I have stopped watching his satsangs, and my mind says, "Oh, you are not following him," and it makes me feel guilty for that. And I want, so I have I am just, that's why I am sticking to one pointing, because that resonates with me, and that I feel like uh, that is the best way to be in touch with him. So
So I'm going to tell you that don't make any declarative statement, in the sense that forget it. Like whether you're watching or not watching, forget about it. Moment to moment, allow your heart, allow your intuition to guide you. So sometimes you hear a satsang announcement and you join when your heart is open to it. On other times, it'll say it's fine in the heart. You see, as long as you're not listening to your mind, then trust that, because otherwise your mind will make like a template as to how to do this. You see? Now, follow that one pointing means don't listen to any other satsang. But that is too primitive conceptually for anyone to live their life on these kind of basis. You see? Life is so full, it is too broad for us to make templates which are just so prescriptive and just like that. So I'm not saying watch every satsang, or I'm not saying don't watch. I'm just saying just follow your intuitive guidance. It'll guide you moment to moment. And how do you know that you're following your intuition? As long as you're not buying any idea of your limitation from the mind, you're following your intuition.
Okay.
So you'll be well guided by your heart in that way. Guruji has given you a master key which resonates already in your heart. So you remain in that inquiry. That is very beautiful. But don't become hard about anything in life. Just soften up. Just soften up. Just allow this divine teacher, which is my master's presence in your very heart, in your intuitive presence, to guide you moment to moment. You'll be just fine. So don't make any statement. Just say Saloni is in Guruji's hands. I don't know. Do I watch satsang? I don't know. Do I not watch satsang? I don't know. You see, not as mental excuses, but really from the heart. You see.
It seems like once I was able to do that, I was able to be completely surrendered, but sometimes I'm not able to do that.
So
Sometimes it becomes hard.
nobody is 100% free. Okay, even the greatest masters, nobody is 100%. But just don't be hard on yourself. You see, don't make that mean something, because a moment or two of identification may come. But if you feel guilty about that and say I'm unworthy or I've lost my freedom or something like that, you see, then that just adds to the condition. You noticed it, it's gone. Forget about it, it's finished. You see, don't insert yourself in any narrative. If you become like a narrator about your life, then you're still taking yourself to be in that time and space and taking yourself to be a limited object.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very,
Thank you so much.
so welcome. Okay, let's go to Claudia.
Hello, Father. Hello, Father. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good.
Since we spoke last time, I how to say, it's like being a funambulist, walking.
No, I didn't hear that word well. What?
A funambulist, walking, or how do you call it? Walking on a row in the air with a bar and yes.
On a tightrope? You're walking on a tightrope?
Yes, something like that. There is, yes.
Balancing act.
Yes, this balancing, this acrobacy I'm doing, because I can't go anymore to the side of the me, of the little me. It's like, no, this I don't want. I am not that. This is an experience. And going to the, but there is this going to the other side, and there is no other side. I can say I am not that,
yes,
but I can't say I am that. There is a deeper knowing that there is no fuel, no bar. This all doesn't exist.
yes.
But yes, there is this balance, and I can say I experience beingness and I am aware, but not I am that, and nothing exists.
I see. It's such a beautiful thing that just before I came into Satsang, I saw that Mahesh had posted something from Maharaj, Nisargadatta Maharaj. And Maharaj said, it is enough to know what you are not. You see,
Mhm.
you don't need to know what you are. You see, what that means is that conceptually, what you are, you cannot know, but it is enough to negate what you think you are. You see, so to know what you are not is good enough. Now, you said beautifully that I can see I'm not this person, I'm not this limited one. Uh, Through my inner insight, my intuitive insight, I am aware of my beingness and I'm aware that I'm aware. You see, but conceptually, I can't say that I am that. That is beautiful. You see, because the mind can never capture your intuitive insight. You see, so you don't have to be in a rush to put your discovery, which your intuitive discovery is, into any words. In fact, you will find it natural for some period of time that you will not be able to speak about yourself authoritatively at all. You see? Because it is so clear to you what you are not. But to try and put what you are or what insight you are having about yourself into words will seem too strange. So even notions like I am that, or I am the beingness, or I am awareness, or I am the self will seem too strange or too difficult to put in words. You see? So don't worry about that. You continue in your intuitive insight about what you are, and therefore in your intuitive insight you are negating what you are not. That much is enough.
Mhm.
That much is more than enough. You don't have to make any positive conclusion about who you are. That is just apparent. See, that is just apparent to you, but you don't have to put it into words until one day the master puts some words in your mouth and you start speaking them naturally. You see, that is fine if it happens that way.
Yes, because it doesn't come out of my mouth. I am that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. You don't have to push it. You don't
Yes,
have to force it at all.
yes. But there is this wish that the person, the fune, and all this acrobatic walking should disappear.
Yes, but now that you see this, that the negation is on one side, and that is apparent to you that you are not a person. And like you said, there is nothing on the other side. So you don't have to balance anything actually.
Yeah. Yes, this intuition is there.
Yes, because
But
if you become the persona of somebody who is trying to balance between your unlimited and limited, you see that is become a new identity. So see that
exactly.
you are not that. See that you are not that. Who is balancing? Show me the one that is balancing.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Yes.
there is nobody there.
Yeah.
You see, there's nobody there. You see,
Mm-hmm.
so the mind tries to put even your intuitive insight and what is happening to you into some sort of a narrative. But again, in the narrative, you will take yourself to be something limited. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good as a tool for communication. Like you used it now to communicate, which is fine. But if you start taking it too seriously, then it will create another persona around how you're trying to now assimilate the unlimited and you're trying to negate the limited. You see, all that is still in time and space and not to do with your reality.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
It can seem a bit, to the mind, it can seem a bit strange or wobbly to not have a narrative. So allow that strangeness and nakedness to play out, you see, without anything to hold on to. Because you'll see that all the representations from the mind are not truly representing you.
Mm-hmm.
That can feel a bit strange. So how do I, what is happening in my life? What is happening in my life? You see, the mind is always proposing answers to this question, but those answers are not true, and they just serve to make the life limited. Like they give you a lens of limitation through which to view life. So if you were not able to determine what is your current state of progress in spirituality, that is just fine.
I don't know if it is a trick of the mind, but even mind doesn't want to be bothered with thoughts, and it's yes, if as if it as if mind would like to be, yes, freed of
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, it can feel like that. Like even the mind feeling like it's done.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's done with this trauma. It can feel like that at times.
Mm-hmm.
But continue to not buy into any limited representations of yourself. You see, because sometimes the mind can also throw bait. You see,
Mm-hmm.
bait at you, saying, "See, I am reformed now. I am on your side." But you don't need those representations about yourself because your intuition is already clear. You see, so you don't need to add on anything from the mind to that.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I'm happy to hear your report. Very happy. It's very
Thank you so much. Thank you.
so welcome. Okay, let's go to. I will pronounce it wrong, and I've forgotten how to pronounce it.
Hello,
Lila.
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 So I don't know what I'm going to say exactly. I know that the last satsang I tried to put my hand up and couldn't find the button. So it was too late, and so today as soon as I got on, I pressed the button. And I think maybe it's I know that every time that I've been speaking to you, it's really been on behalf of the non-existent one, and really trying to help that one. And I just feel like I'm the most identified with that one that I've ever been in my life right now. And it feels so urgent, and I'm so strongly believing it. And I know I hear other people's stories of the things that everyone else is.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my dear. I'm going to ask you to unmute again. 1 second.
Sorry. I feel like the universe doesn't want me to be speaking. Yeah, I feel like I just don't.
You feel like you're the most identified you ever been.
Most identified, yes, so identified. And I hear other people's stories, and it's funny, I can say it feels like, oh, they can deal with that's hard, but they can deal with it. They know what they're doing, but I don't feel the same about myself. I don't know if
It's very common in satsang to feel like, but he's answered that. Why can't you just drop it? Why can't you just drop it? And when it comes to ours, then it just feels like so difficult and so heavy to drop.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I mentioned. I think that somehow that I moved to Ireland with 3 little dogs. I don't have, and I have 2 left. One passed away, and I feel very like, I think that's an added dimension that feels so significant. I have no one else that can take care of them if something happens to me, and I'm trying desperately to find something to, and it's funny how like it seems so important, like that if something happens to me that they're taken care of, and they're old dogs with health problems, and it feels so important that I'm here to take care of them. And I know everyone has something, and it just feels so important, and really, like, I can't, it seems like I stay awake thinking, and I know that this isn't the best thing for them. It's not helping them. It's for me to be completely identified with this. But I don't know how to drop it. And I went through the retreat, Muji's retreat, and I'm not able to hear anymore. And I'm just so identified. And I don't know even what it was 5 years ago that I was so sure was true. And now I'm so far, I feel so far from that. I feel like sometimes, like, what am I even doing here? So I'll stop talking now, I guess.
It's fine. It's fine. Thank you for that report. Everything, everything is going to go. Everything is going to go. You see? Everything that you can perceive, everything that you can hold on to. And like we were saying about this great Indian sage Kabir, he put it in a beautiful way, which said everything is going to throw you out. You see, everything is going to throw you out. This world will throw you out. Your house will throw you out. Your pets will throw you out. Your relationship will throw you out. What does it mean? When death comes, you see, there's nothing that we can hold on to.
Yes.
Everything is going to throw you out. You see, so it is worthy then to focus and bring some time and attention to that which will not throw us out. See? Because no matter what we do, this world will never become permanent. It is going to be ephemeral. See? So inevitably, we are going towards all of this not being there. You see, whether it is in deep sleep state tonight, or whether it is in that notion of death, which all of us have. Either way, we notice that what we perceive is not permanent. You see? Now, what if you were to recognize that which is eternal, which is timeless, in fact, and you discover yourself to be that, and you notice that you are unaffected by this movement of life to death, of waking to sleep. You see, all of these states coming and going don't really mean anything in reality to what you are. What if that discovery could truly be yours? And not only that, you also recognize the supreme intelligence which is running this universe, which is doing a fantastic job of it. You see, except for our mind's interpretation, it is running it beautifully. So it doesn't need the personal me to intervene and to take care of somebody, or to take care of life in some way or the other, because God is. And God is taking care of everything. And it happens in all situations. I see, like some people feel like in their house people cannot do without them, but they do fine. You see, some people feel like in their companies people can't do without them, like the whole company will collapse, but mostly the company also does fine. You see, they feel like, how will this world run without me? And it runs perfectly fine without me. You see? So it's best not to allow these things to become primary in our life. And if the contemplation on death is really happening, then can it become broader than just a worry about death into a true contemplation about what will die and what will remain deathless? You see, because it's just, otherwise it's a wasted opportunity, in the sense that it just becomes into, oh, what's going to happen to my family, and my pets, and who will take care of them, as if God just doesn't have a plan or something like that. You see? So it just becomes into this kind of irrational mode of thinking, which makes us the central character in this narrative, and feel like, what is going to happen without this? You see, God cannot run this world without my being there. You see, so like these kind of ideas can become number one. Of course, I don't mean to sound harsh at all about this as I'm saying this, but it is just an invitation to go beyond these limited concepts that we may have about ourselves. And this is the time to do it. This is the time, if there is concern about the death of the body, then this is the time to discover the deathless.
I sorry. It's I keep seeing that God is running this universe, but there is seeing all the examples, especially things from Facebook, the things that, animal suffering and fires and people, animals burning, it's those things come right to my mind, that how is it running perfectly when all these things are happening, to see that there's something.
Yes.
It's that's like these objections just come, but what about that? But what about that? And
But one thing we can admit is that once we see that God is running this universe, we can at least see that we'll come to a determination about whether it is happening perfectly or imperfectly in a moment. But at least that much is apparent that it is not God and me running this universe, isn't it?
Oh, it's true. Yeah, there are things that I have tried to change the situation. Like I'm planning to try to, at my son's request, to move back to the United States and finding out, because I can get medical. I'm worried if I die, my pets will be stranded. I don't have any backup for them. There's nobody that takes old dogs. So I'm planning to move back to the United States, which is very difficult to do and arrange. And then finding out back there's no veterinary care isn't possible. So either way, I can't be in control of making things safe for my dogs. I'm not in charge. I'm really not. But to give it up is.
So for a moment, even if we take the distinction between consciousness and yourself to be real, what you're recognizing is that all only happens with God's will. And that's apparent separate one doesn't have any power over any of this anyway. So if that is the case, then it is not for us to worry about the perfection or the imperfection on it, but because who are we to trust God's ways and God's will? And what capacity do we have to be able to judge that?
Just conditioning of what's right and wrong and good and bad.
Just an idea we have about what should be, what should not be. But that limited set of ideas cannot even run one life. Forget about the world and things. So how can we judge that which is making all this go round? You see all these billions and billions of organisms and planets and processes, even in one body, there's so much happening. You see? So we, in our mind, have no capability or capacity to judge that intelligence and to be able to determine, oh, you're doing a good job with this or you're doing a bad job with that. That is impossible for us to do. You see, so it is not for us to put ourselves in that position where we can judge the supreme intelligence. So let go of that and come to the discovery of what you really are. Come to the discovery of what you really are, because only in that will you find the peace that you're looking for. Everything else you will find is very, very ephemeral. You try to grasp at it, but it leaves. You see, and things that you grasp at that you have, then you don't like them anymore. Then you are waiting for them to leave. You see, so this is the play of life. But in satsang we are pointing to, in a very simple way, your reality. In a very simple way, to your reality. Now, let me try it. Let me try right now. Can you stop being at this moment?
No, but one problem I have with that question is that there is something that's trying to stop being, which is like the feeling of suffering, and it's attached to it feels attached to the feeling of being. It's like I want to stop being, so it just feels so stuck with the.
So for a few moments, if we let go of everything you said after but, just on the first part of it, which is, can you stop being?
No.
This being, where is it?
I feel that when I'm going to the question, there is a perception of space. I'm seeing a perception of space, and I know that, and I feel maybe I'm confused that that's being, or maybe my mind has put a label on being.
This is very good. So I'm happy to take a lot of time on this, because this is the critical. So this being, you say that even that is perceived. So if it is a perception, does it have a shape or a color or a size? Is that what you mean?
I mean it. Well, it feels that it has the quality of space. I mean, it seems perceivable. It seems even visual. It seems like,
What is the color of it? If it's visual, what is the color?
Well, it's a no color,
No
clear,
color.
or I mean, sort of almost like a screen though, like a,
What is the dimension of the screen? Is it rectangular or square?
it's,
The question may seem very silly, but I'm encouraging all of you to join in this contemplation because your minds will play the same tricks on you. You see?
well,
So
yeah,
if it
sorry.
is visual or perceivable, then we must be able to confirm some quality about it. You see, what is the quality that you can confirm?
I guess I'm confusing it maybe with my visual field, and I don't know if that's
Who is perceiving the visual field?
nobody.
Then what does it have to do with you? How are you getting that information in the first place? If there's nobody who's doing that, how does it come to you?
I don't know.
So this looking can feel a bit strange because as you're looking, you're finding that this perceiver seems like there's nobody there. But that nobody actually is your very being. You are perceiving it, isn't it? That is undeniable. But you cannot find a shape to this you. And that's why it can feel like, no, but I am not there. There's nothing there. There's nobody there. You see? So if it is being perceived by nobody, then how do you know about it?
I am that nobody.
Yeah. You are that no thing, in fact. You are that no thing, you see, because you are not a thing. So to see that I am perceiving or I am aware even of my perception, you see, but this I itself I cannot perceive. And yet it is so clear that it has to be myself. Is a beautiful discovery. Is a beautiful discovery.
I
And
don't,
it is so natural actually. Please go ahead.
I feel that that I want to say I am trying to grasp something, and so grabs onto the feeling of suffering, grabs onto the feeling of a central me, like a central, or even like sometimes I try to move back, like go back, as like teachers will say, and try to be the farthest back, but it just seems that that's still a phenomenal. It's still perceived. No matter where I go, it's something is perceived. And
Okay, let's do this together. Let's do this together because uh, the mind will present to you things about you which may not necessarily be true because I hear about this recursion thing many times. You see that it's endless. It's like mirrors looking into each other. It doesn't end. So let's just confirm together at what point it becomes like those mirrors. So uh, are you perceiving all the sensations of your body?
yeah, I'm
You perceive them.
I want to say I don't know if I'm perceiving all of them, but I suppose
Yes, yes. Whatever is being perceived, it is you that is perceiving them. Isn't it?
yeah, yes,
And are you aware of this perception?
yes,
So you are aware of the perception of this sound, for example, that you're hearing as Ananta's voice.
yes,
In the same way, if you rub your hands together, you're aware of the perception of touch.
yes.
Yes. Now, this you that is aware, you see, what does that look like?
Just as you were saying that, I pictured an image of myself on the Zoom screen. So
Yeah. So it
yeah,
does
it
look
just
like
wants to.
that. Does it look like that?
No, I know not really, but it's kind of just that I know it doesn't.
You see, you are having a perception even about that. Some memory or some imagery or imagination may be showing you, but you're perceiving memory and imagination, isn't it?
Yes, and then there's a perceiving of frustration at not being able to.
It's okay. Frustration doesn't mean anything. Don't worry about it. I'm there with you. So let the frustration also be perceived. Don't beat yourself up about anything at all. We're just talking simply and just looking at things in a very simple way. So that which is aware even of the perception of frustration, it is aware of the perception of this voice, it is aware of the perception of sight, of your image on Zoom, it is aware of all of this perception, isn't it? Now, this you that is aware, what is happening to it? Has it got any trouble?
I feel stuck, right? At sort of I feel like I'm stuck at this.
Can you point out
perception?
What you are perceiving as stuckness? What is it that you're perceiving?
Having my attention going to this kind of, well, I could say kind of dark, empty space, but like it feels in front of the perceiving. It's in front of what's the actual perceiving. And that's what I identify as what's perceiving. I'm identifying that as me. Oh, and it's an image. It's still an image of nothing. Like,
yeah, so there's an image of dark, empty space, or it could be an image of bright light. It doesn't matter. The object of perception doesn't matter. So allow whatever is being perceived to be perceived. Don't let it mean anything. Allow me to make whatever meaning there has to be made. It is not your job for the moment. Your job is just to, like a little child, follow the instruction as much as possible. So that which is aware of all of this perception, does it have a problem?
I'm going to the thoughts, the
So just in your looking,
I guess I feel like I can't see it. I mean, I feel like I can't check with it because it's not observable.
Very good. That's already very good. Because you notice that this, which we're calling it, you see, but we also said it is I that is aware. So this I that is aware is beyond all perception. It's a beautiful discovery, actually. Don't worry, don't worry. I know your mind will fight, it will resist. Don't worry. Take your time, take your time. You see, all I'm saying is that it is so apparent I am aware of all of these perceptions. You see? Now, so naturally we call it I. And yet this I itself is not observable, it's not perceivable.
There's so much trying to put something there to perceive, but no.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Try with your full might. Try with your full might. Don't fight it. Try to make it perceivable. See if you can do it.
There's just also this feeling like I'm not gonna be able to get this, and I'm wasting everyone's time. And
don't worry. Whoever had to leave have already left. It's completely fine. So just this feeling that is there, I'm not going to get it. Allow this feeling also to play. Allow it to become big, huge, whatever it wants to do, and see if that awareness now can take a shape because of this feeling. Just allow free rein for everything to happen. Don't try to control anything at all. If your thoughts want to become louder, if your feelings are pumping loudly, Allow all of it to happen. Don't resist anything at all.
There is the space that now there is awareness of the space that it's all in, but again, that feels perceivable.
Yes, and who is aware of that?
Now thoughts are wanting to say that thoughts are aware. It's wanting to say that the thoughts that are speaking that are.
Yes. So what is your seeing? Don't be concerned about what the thoughts are trying to say. What are you seeing through your inner insight? Who is aware of all of these perceptions?
I don't know.
Is it somebody sitting next to you who's aware?
No.
It must be you, isn't it?
Yes.
So this you, are you in denial of it because it is unperceivable?
The images and all the changing things that try to be put up as me, the images and
Yeah.
Is it this? Is it this? Is it this voice? It's
Sure.
like knowing that none of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of it changing, very fast, everything is coming. Is your awareness also getting involved in that change?
It's trying so hard to make an image. Like again, the empty, the space that's
Yes.
just. I guess it can't seem to get to that. I know. I feel like I only know that it's not like, but I'm.
So are you saying that it's not clear to you that you are aware?
I guess I'm changing it. I'm making it so personal. I feel like I can't distinguish it.
No, don't go there. Don't worry about it. Are you saying that you are not aware?
No.
It has to be you, whether you like it or not. You see? Because you are aware of this perception. You are aware of the changing imagery. You are aware of your mind. You are aware of the memories. You are aware of the resistance. You are aware of all of this. But this you, how do you know it is you? You cannot perceive it, isn't it? You do not know it through a perception. Your mind, you're right. Your mind is giving you imagery and saying this dark, empty space is awareness. That is what you must be. But that's very well spotted actually, because many get stuck in that idea. But you spotted it instantly and said, I cannot be that. Does your internet give way at just the right time? I'm going to continue this inquiry because this is the most important thing. You are aware of everything that you are perceiving. But this you that is aware, you cannot perceive, isn't it? And yet, is it possible to get confused about that? It has to be you, isn't it? So, even if you did not have a thought, it has to be me. You see? And even if your thoughts are very confused, can you ever actually claim that it is somebody else's awareness? So, this is intuitive insight. To recognize this awareness as myself, without needing any perception or without needing any confirmation from the mind. Just this simple intuitive recognition is self-knowledge or self-recognition. Now, is it dependent on what you may think, what may be the state of your body, what may be happening in your life? Is it dependent on any of this? Now, if you did not have any desire, if you did not want anything out of this discovery, then that would be freedom, isn't it? If you did not ask the question, what does this mean for me? Am I free now? Am I enlightened? All of these questions were kept aside. Then this is what freedom looks like.
Hello.
Internet collaborating with your mind.
Really, yes. Yes. Oh,
That's the way. That's the way of this lila.
oh,
With
yeah.
Kim seems to be.
Yes, thank you.
It's fine. It's fine. So, if we come back to the question, that it is you that is aware of all of these perceptions, but this you yourself you cannot perceive, isn't it?
Yes. It's just frustrating that it keeps putting up an image or something. It keeps pointing to something.
Once you see that the image doesn't harm you, it cannot be frustrating anymore. Only if you have an idea that it should not be there. But it's very natural for that image to come.
Okay, okay.
It's very natural
Okay.
because we'll constantly try to pretend as if it is walking along with you. So when we are looking at that which is beyond all perception, the mind very naturally will present to you a dark, empty space, which you don't have to worry about. In fact, ask who is aware of the perception of even the dark and empty space. So whatever it may use to distract you, we can use it as fuel for our inquiry. So who is aware now? Let's ask fresh. Who is aware of these perceptions?
I am aware. I am aware, but it's still, yeah, I'm still just getting the perceptions. The perceptions present so quickly, even before I can answer the question.
Let them present whatever.
Okay.
Does it make a dent on your being aware of them? Whatever the perception may be.
Yes.
Does it dent your awareness of them? Does it affect your awareness of them?
No.
Yeah.
I guess I also so much identification with the thoughts, like I with thoughts themselves, like to know that I'm not the thoughts, that even the one that's directing. I don't know if it's the checker voice that's telling you what to look for, and even that's in my head saying, is it perceivable, is it whatever. It's yeah.
For a moment, just allow your thoughts to say whatever they are saying. You just follow my voice with as much innocence as possible.
Okay.
As much openness as possible, and don't worry about anything else.
Okay.
And don't beat yourself up. If you follow the mind, it's fine. Don't worry. We'll come back to this.
Okay.
As much innocence as you can muster, just like that. Innocence means that you don't know what the mind is trying to say. You're only following me innocently like a little child. That's all.
Okay.
Now, use my voice again. You are perceiving this voice, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, that which is aware of this perception, does it have a shape or size?
No.
What is its relationship with you? What is its distance from you? that which is aware and you, how far apart are they?
I know my mind is answering before I can. My mind knows the answer, which is it is me. Yeah.
But that is coming, is that also coming from the mind, or are you having an intuitive insight about this? Are you seeing it inwardly, or is the no also coming from the mind? It's
I
okay.
feel it's coming from my mind,
Okay.
and I don't want to admit. I don't want to say, but
So that's okay. Don't worry. So who is aware of the perception of this voice? Is it not you?
yes. I guess like the instant that you say it, it's just that I wait to hear the mind, like a split second after the mind
Yeah.
will present something. But yeah.
All of this is very good inquiry, because these are all the tricks the mind plays. So it's very helpful for all of us. So, but the question again is very simple. It is seen that I am aware of all of these perceptions, but that I which is aware, I cannot hold any quality of that one. I cannot point to any quality that that one has. And that is why your mind will struggle and it will present pictures of dark, empty spaces and things, because it can only work with qualities.
Yeah.
But even that is perceived, isn't it? Now, this you that is aware, what is its trouble or suffering?
Yeah, I'm still feeling that the mind, there's all the objects are in the way.
Okay,
It's to see that it's not. I
how
know.
are they, whatever the perception may be, who are they blocking? Are they blocking awareness?
No, but I think I need to answer quicker before my mind comes.
Okay, we try that. So that which is aware, where is it located?
I wanted to say first nowhere, but then everywhere.
Uh, is it black or white or green or yellow?
No. No.
How far is it from you?
Again, it is me as an answer that comes, but yeah, I'm not. It's not a.
If it was not you that was aware, then how is all this information coming to you?
Yeah, that's like my computer does not compute, and so not quite ready to explode. I wish it would do that, but
So somewhere, when we are not concerned about what the mind is saying, it is apparent that it is I that is aware.
yes.
Because if I was to say, no, actually it is Jada that is aware, but she's just telling you, and you're answering based on what she's saying.
Yeah. I get confusion with that pointing, because then it feels like you're talking about the body, like you know.
Yes, because you know so much spirituality that which is meant to be met in a much simpler way,
I know.
then like extrapolated into all kinds of
Yeah.
things. You see, that's what I meant with when I said with the innocence of a child, that's what I meant. Just like then leave aside everything else about what you know, that you are not the body. And in fact, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So if you already knew that you are not the body, then we would not need this conversation anyway. But the mind uses the spirituality very conveniently as an escape from spirituality itself. You see, when I'm saying, oh, okay, now is Jada telling you, you're saying, but I'm not the body. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. You're not the body.
Yeah.
So how is this work reaching you then? Is it reaching you through another third party?
No.
So you must be aware of it, isn't it?
Yes.
So that you, why do you call it you? Or I?
um, I don't know.
On what basis? Do you see it as you?
Do I what?
Do you see it? Do you see it as you?
No, I don't see it. I just know it.
You just know it.
Yes.
How can you just know it? You see? How can you just know it? If you heard your own word, you just know it. You see? It's not, and this knowing, is it something you read or you heard just because you heard in satsang? Is that knowing?
No. But there
No.
is so much confusion. There's just all this.
Look at it, you're doing very well. You see, you say, I just know it. It is I. I mean, it's so absurdly obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
See? So this absurd obviousness is self-knowledge. When we try to make it more tangible conceptually, then it becomes ignorance. It's simpler than you think. It's simpler than you think. The mind tries to tell you it's more difficult than that. It's simpler than any effort.
I guess I'm having so much this idea I have of me, which I don't even know what it is. It's just so front.
You can pause. You see, so you just notice something which is a pristine discovery. I asked you, how do you know that it is you? You said, I just do.
Yeah.
I just know it. You see? Now don't neglect that, because that just know it. The fancy term for that is intuitive insight. It is self-knowledge. It is Atma Gyan.
It doesn't seem limited though. I mean, it doesn't seem limited to an I. It doesn't seem.
Yes.
I feels like a location to me. Like the word I feels like so local, and the awareness doesn't feel local.
The idea of a local I is getting demolished in the inquiry. Because you cannot locate the I that you're seeing that you know you are. But this knowledge is not a mental knowledge, nor is it perceptual knowledge. It is just, like you said, a just knowing. I just know it is I. I am aware of my perception. This I cannot perceive. I cannot think about also. It is just so pristine that it is independent of all thought and all perception. So in satsang, what is happening and will continue to happen is you'll start to value this just knowing, this intuitive insight, much more than your mind's ideas of knowing. That is the switchover. That is the switchover. The mind will try to convince you that this is useless. I always knew this. What's the big deal in this? It can't be this. How does it help me? You see, keep all these objections aside. Keep all these objections aside. Just offer them up to the master. And you just stay with this. Because it's a beautiful insight. I am aware of my perception. Independent of any perception about this I, of any concept about this I just know it. But this know is a capital K knowing. It is not the same knowing that we rely on in the past.
For the past 5 years that I've been so much going into the localized I, and
Just refer to yourself for just a minute. Only refer to yourself as that awareness which you just know that you are. Don't refer to yourself as any other shape or size.
I think something is very insecure with it. Something feels,
You feel a bit wobbly, it's fine. Don't worry. For a while, you just have to follow like a little child without your own judgment about anything.
yeah, and I don't know that now I feel like it's create kind of going to the like wanting to identify as the space now, just wanting to identify like, oh, it's the space now. It's
Don't let it retreat
not the
you.
knowing.
Although space is nice, don't let it retreat now to even space.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to be spaceless and timeless.
I just have such a big feeling. I'm also listening to this thing saying that you're failing, that you've spent so much time on this question that I'm failing with it.
I have spent all this time with everyone who's listening
Yeah.
and will listen for many years on YouTube. Don't ever feel like there's time being wasted on this, because this
Okay.
is inquiry pointing directly to your true self nature.
Okay, good.
So don't, there's no reason for any sort of, you never know, there could be someone long after both our bodies have passed who comes across YouTube one day and listens to this inquiry and comes to a discovery about themselves, about their true self. So don't ever buy into any idea that anything in God's kingdom is ever wasted.
It's so much I feel that I shouldn't give voice to the objections, but they stay. Like if I don't voice them, there's still something that believes in them. And yeah.
If by voicing them you're letting go of them, then that is fine too.
Yeah, that I don't know.
That which is aware of your perception. How do you know that it is you?
I kind of wanted to say because there's nothing else, but I don't know what that comes from.
It's unexplainable because you just do. And we're not used to that kind of knowledge. We become used to only conceptual knowledge or things that we see or hear. This is the most original, most pristine knowledge, Atma Gyan, self-knowledge.
No, I want the struggling to stop, like this.
Who are you representing now? Are you representing awareness?
No, I'm representing the struggling.
You represented that long enough.
Yeah.
Represent the truer you, what you're discovering in your heart. What is the true you saying?
It's not saying anything right now.
Try to make that struggle. Try to make that one struggle. That awareness, try to make it struggle. Try to shake it up a bit.
I still feel like I feel like I haven't quite, I hope other people are getting this, but I feel like I am.
You are not aware of your perception. Somebody else is.
I know I'm aware of it. I know I'm aware of it
How do you know?
because I do know, I know.
That's it. That's it. So then you cannot say, I'm not getting this, because you just know it. Self-knowledge is the most primal intelligence that all of us have. We cannot lose it. It's just that we got convinced by the mind saying it's worthless or this is not true. This can't be it. You see, these kind of objections.
It is. It's so much. There's so much. All that has come up in the last couple months is so much. What's in it for me is just the biggest. That's the biggest that's it's ever been. Is like, how is this going to fix anything? How is this? It's just so big. It feels
Now,
so big.
I can ask you a strong question.
Okay.
What you just reported, do you know this to be true?
Do I know it to be true?
Yes.
No. No.
We cannot know. Even one moment we cannot decipher conceptually. And yet we are able to talk about last months and so many things. But that's just the mind's narrative.
Yeah.
You can never be put into any narrative. In fact, the only quote unquote thing that you can know, truly know, is what you are. Everything else is all rubbish.
So. Can I actually know what I am though? Like.
What you think you are cannot know it. What you actually are cannot forget it. You cannot do it as a learning or as an exercise. You can only recognize that which is already known, always known. Like
There
you
is-
never confused throughout your life. Have you ever been confused about who's been aware of the perceptions you've been having?
No. No.
It's that simple. It's always been you. You see, but you added to that you with notions from the mind and says, I am this something. But actually, without the notion from the mind, this awareness that you are has completely been obvious to you. Self-knowledge is neither remembered nor forgotten. It is only that the false knowledge is thrown out.
The one that wants to throw it out is the false one too. The one that's trying so hard to get rid of it is the
Yeah.
is not the.
Yes. The only thing that is needed is you follow the pointing. Who is aware of your perception? And if it is you, how do you confirm that it is you? And you're being introduced in a way to that which you've always known. And yet it can seem so pristine and fresh because it has always been here, this self-knowledge, but it seemed to have got clouded up in our conceptual knowing.
I guess my mind is taking me back to actually being a very small child when I learned the difference between I and you. And I remember my mother trying to teach me that. Like I did not know the difference between I and why is it I? And that's, I remember that. And it's like, maybe I need to go back before that.
We still don't know the difference because there is none.
Yeah.
But we picked up concepts along the way, which using the power of our belief, like consciousness has used the power of its own belief to convince itself that it is separate. We don't actually know. Like what defines one perception, what differentiates one perception from another, how does it make two? We don't know. There is no such thing actually.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel very bad for taking all this time.
No, it's very
Oh,
good.
no.
It's very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the invitation in this is that the inquiry as it is being shared in so many different ways with each of you. Everyone who's attending or even watching a video later must feel in their heart that it is for them. You must not feel that, oh, you see, I'm waiting for my turn to come. Because this is the universal inquiry. It is the same for everyone. Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are still questions left after this? Okay, let's see. Let's go to Jada.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me, Father.
A little louder, please, my dear. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Or I will try this.
Okay.
Can you hear now, Father?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can I just, well, before we start speaking,
Sure.
can those who felt like you had an intuitive insight into your true nature when we are looking together with Laila, can you just put your hands up? And don't try to humor me or make me feel good or something. Just keep them up for a moment. Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. So I'm happy to hear that we can speak directly like this. We can speak directly like this. It's very good. Okay. Go ahead, Matthew.
I don't know, Father. I keep coming to you, and I started to feel a little bit shame about this. First, I have to say that it's just so clear, always what you have shown. It's just too clear.
Very good.
But it is, and how it actually affects my life, which is important for me actually. And it's just so beautiful how you take care of everything. And as I reported also last time, like how you really not eaten up, but just taking over whole life. Because yeah, it's just too important to see, you know, like I'm taking care of, and beyond this, not just taking care of, you know, like every hold you are waiting for me, and like, you know, every experience or every incident, what I look and I just found you and you are here for me. And this is just the most important for me, like this feeling of like my father is with me, and just I'm incredibly grateful for this greatest gift. Actually, this is the greatest gift for me, and this was what I directly asked Guruji for, and he promised me, and it just, you know, you cannot trust. Actually, you do, but it's just proven to me again and again, and I'm just totally grateful for this. Thank you so, so much.
Very good. Very
Yes,
happy.
I'm too. Me too.
Because in your true insight about what you are, then you start to see more and more that life is being taken care of. By my Master's grace is taking care of everything. And then as we let go of concern about life and what should happen and things, then the insight even becomes clearer. So this is beautiful. You see, so the clearer insight, the more you see that life is completely being taken care of by the Supreme Divinity. And the more we see that the Supreme Divinity takes care, the more clarity comes into our own seeing about what we are. So this is beautiful.
Yes, Father, it is indeed. And actually, yesterday, what I realized that I'm just so grateful, Father, because it's like that I'm not even allowed to make a mistake anymore. I mean, I do, but even the mistakes are just planned and given by God. And some mistakes I'm not allowed to do, some experiences I'm not allowed to do. And I'm just like, it's just beyond gratefulness, to see that like the whole life is just being catched up like this. And it's just like I prostrate before you, I just prostrate before Guruji. And yeah, just immense gratitude for this, immense.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you, my child. Thank you so much. All my love, all my blessings. Okay, thank you, my love. Let's go to Devi.
Hello,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes, my dear, I can. How about you? You can hear me well?
Yes. Yes, I just wanted to share a bit what has been going on and also to ask you something. But yeah, like since we spoke last time, slowly, something has been like more alive inside me. Like this, what you told me, that everything is Master's problem. And it
Yes.
became a bit more easy. It's not like a big shift, but I feel it's already such a big thing to just let everything not be my problem. And I see like also less guilt about everything that happened. Also
Very,
because I shared with you, and maybe I can just forget about it. I don't have to always refer to myself as this story.
yeah, it's very good.
And
Very
it's still there's still some fear that maybe it's gonna be hard again, but and sometimes it is hard, but even at that time I say, okay, I don't know what to do, it's just not my problem, and it's good. And also, like before when you spoke to Lila, like I couldn't fully grasp, but I let it go. Like, I don't know, it's like this for now, but I feel something is maybe, I don't know. I want to see, and I do my best, like you said, just follow like a child, but more than this, I don't know.
That's
I
it.
also
That's
feel
more
like
than
that,
That's very
yeah.
good. More than enough, my dear.
One thing that is still a bit like sometimes heavy to deal with is like this I feel like there is this strong energies like blocked inside, or somehow, I don't know, like solidified inside, and it's also taking a lot of energy from the body. I feel tired, actually. I don't know if this is the cause or not, but and sometimes even when I'm inquiring, like also before with Lila, I was looking inside and I feel this like very dense energy inside, and sometimes it's releasing a bit also through this looking, like it's a bit lessening, but I just want this also to leave it.
Yeah.
And
You must include
I don't know, to
it's in the master's problem.
everything, yeah.
Yes, even this, like even what we think we know about energies or heaviness or lightness, all of this, like don't understand it. And if you want to understand something, understand that it is the master's problem.
Okay, it's good.
Then everything, then that is the
Thank
innocence.
you. And also I felt,
That is the innocence
yeah,
of a child. Like the story of the Zen master, an American professor came to visit a Zen master. I don't know if this happened or it's just a story, but it's a good one. So what happened is that the professor was asking the Zen master a lot of questions, and he wanted like a intellectual debate. So then the Zen master said, "Would you like some tea?" And the professor said yes. So the master started pouring the tea, and then he kept pouring and didn't stop till the cup, it came out of the cup, it was falling everywhere. And the professor said, "Stop, stop, what's happening? What's wrong with you? Why are you pouring this tea?" He said, "Why? What's the problem?" He said, "Don't you see that the cup is already full? You can't put anything more into that." You see? So that's what the Zen master said. Yes, you must come to me when your cup is empty, and then I can fill you. So when I say don't understand and surrender it to master, that is how your cup becomes empty. That's how your cup becomes empty. And actually, the empty cup is the full cup. It is not two processes. Just to come to our conceptual emptiness is to recognize our truths, our fullness. But anyway, don't understand any of that yet. Just keep emptying your cup, and that is enough.
Thank you.
Very good.
And thank you for telling me to come every time. Even if you don't pick me, I
Yeah.
feel it's good just to be with my hand up the whole satsang. And it's something is, I don't know, I just felt as soon as I put my hand up, something is working inside. Thank you.
It's very good. It's very good. I remember our deal, and it continues till I tell you to stop. Yes?
Thank you.
Okay, let's maybe go to the last one for today. Eklak.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Thank you for giving me a chance. I know I'm coming here after several months.
That's fine. That's fine.
The journey that I started with this satsang, and I started to develop an understanding both conceptually, intuitively. I've been on it, but on and off. So there have been times that I've meditated for hours, and then there have been times that I've let go for days. So it's been up and down, but I know for sure that the non-being, the manifested, the being, and the awareness, all of that is a much better understanding than it was before. But I have a question today, that while I do realize that the true self is awareness and it is nothing, it can't be perceived, it has no quality. And most of us identify with the false ego, the identification that comes with the mind and the emotions.
Yes.
But then, if there is no duality, right? The knower and the known are the same, so as to say. And I know I'm talking theory. I'll come to the question. Now,
it's fine. Take your time. Don't worry.
Yeah. I also, it is also my understanding that the ground of being, we are all manifestations of the same thing. Behind we are the same, but we are different manifestations in different shapes and forms with different mind and emotions, right? And that we have a role to play in this universe, in this larger scheme of things. Now, in order to play that role, let's say, one of the things that has happened to me is from the time that, let's say, I realized that first let go, okay? Don't try to control everything, right? And that resulted in something like I started eating a lot, I started drinking more, I started using things that I'm not supposed to use, because I said, hey, look, your body is a perishable commodity. It's going to go somewhere. You are endless. So just enjoy life as much as possible. So I put on weight. I've become unhealthy, and I've become unfit. All at the same time realizing that whatever is happening is supposed to happen, and you should not try to control it. At the same time, the other piece is, Although the body is perishable, you still have to take care of it, and you do have to play the role, but in a detached way. And all of the self-help books say that, if you want to become something, you have to visualize that. So let's say you want to become fit, you have to visualize being fit. If you want to become CEO, you have to visualize being CEO. You have to repeat that mantra, so on and so forth. Now, for this role that this body is playing, or this mind or this emotion is playing, when a person indulges in visualization and repetition, so on and so forth, aren't they feeding the false identity and the ego more, and therefore getting further and further away? Not physically, but let's say adding more layers of ignorance to your true self by telling your ego, visualize yourself to be fit, visualize yourself to be CEO, repeat that I'm going to become a CEO, repeat that I'm going to become fit, because this is what most of the self-help books say. I'm not sure if you are able to understand the question, but
no, I'm getting it.
Yeah, so that's so how does one, so the question in our mind is, if I were to, let's say, try to become fit, or try to have an ambitious plan to grow in my career, and I visualize and do that, am I not feeding my false ego and false set of identity?
Very good. Thank you for sharing that, and I'm very happy to see you here after a few months, like you said. But I'm happy to see you. This is beautiful question to end satsang with today, because we spent a lot of time today just inquiring, coming to an intuitive insight about what we really are. But the other wing of satsang, the other wing of this bird, as Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi called it, one is self-inquiry, the other is surrender. So this beloved one has asked a beautiful question. He said, if surrender means to let go, then doesn't let go mean that, okay, I can eat anything, I can drink anything, I can allow this body to become unhealthy? Isn't it the let go? You see, can't I just do whatever I want to do, or to put another way, the mind wants to do, under the garb of this surrender? You see? So because everything that can happen is God's will anyway. No? So why don't I have 3 extra drinks tonight, and whatever I want to do? You see? So that is the essence of the first part of the question. And I want to point this out to everybody, because this can become an important confusion. So what happens is that in our intellect, you see, our intellect is very limited. So it has these opposites. You see? So if our condition is that we were very obsessive about holding on to things, I need to do this, I need to lead a healthy life, I need to exercise, I need to work hard to become CEO, like he said. You see, all of these things. And then some suffering comes because you're taking yourself to be the ego. Then when you hear let go, it can feel as if it provided some relief. I don't have to think all that. Life is taking care, God is taking care, so let go. Let go means, but then I can do whatever I want, actually, or the mind, or whatever the mind wants. And for many people, freedom means whatever the mind wants, I can do. You see, it's not freedom from the mind, it is freedom for the mind. You see, if you ask people in India, many kids, you ask them, what is freedom for you? Jo mere man mein aaya main karoon. That is freedom. So it can feel like, okay, now because there's God's will is running everything, therefore whatever desire I have, I can indulge it, because it cannot be outside God's will. You see, so it's a very natural question to ask. But then my body becomes unhealthy, I can't even meditate, I'm so hungover. You see, what is this surrender? It doesn't seem like surrender at all. It doesn't seem like I'm getting closer to God. You see? So this is the starting point, to give some context to this. So what is the answer? Let go actually means let go of both positions. See? Let go actually means that it is not in the boundary of the intellect. It neither means that I must only do according to my mind's plan, nor does it mean that, everything is God's will, so I can do anything. It is not an intellectual position at all. You see, and this is a bit subtle. So, and the intellect can struggle with this a bit, but all of you have been in satsang long enough to hear this. So, let go means allow yourself to be empty of your personal identity moment to moment. You see? And in that emptiness, you will find that a natural intelligence is guiding your actions. You see, so it's not prescriptive about what to do, what not to do. It is not even saying drink or don't drink. It is not even saying come to satsang or don't come to satsang. I'm not saying any of that. You see, but the surrender means allow yourself to be free from your mind's limited notions about what you are. And as you allow yourself to be free from that, you will find that actions are continuing. And sometimes you may even find some intuitive guidance, which is guiding you, so go this way, don't go that way. But even without that audible guidance, when you are absent of this individual identity, whatever actions are happening, you can consider them to be happening intuitively. You see? But so did you see the difference? One is an idea of let go, which is saying I can do everything I want. This is all also God's will. So it's still coming through conceptual representations of what life should be. And even in the earlier idea, it was conceptual representations. I want to do this. I have this aspiration, ambition. My life should only go in this way, so I'm going to work towards that. And then it went to I'm just free. I can do whatever I want. Nothing can be outside God's will. You see, so both are conceptual. So neither are letting go actually. Both are mental. You see? So what is the true way to be open and empty? Allow this mind's conceptual representation of who you are, which is still taking you to be separate, it is still taking you to be an individual ego and not the truth of what you are. And as you let go of either of these opposites, you see, so one quick tip is if it has an opposite, forget about it. See? If it has an opposite, forget about it. Now, that can seem a bit strange initially, but you will start to trust the natural intelligence which is growing all plants, which is flapping the wings of all the birds, which is guiding everything with this beautiful intelligence. You see? Like a plant doesn't know how strong a branch is, so it's saying I can only have a fruit which is 200 grams because this branch is only this strong, and yet the perfect size grows. You see? The perfect branches grow. Every tree is unique, and yet every tree grows with such great intelligence. You see, so this intelligence is what in the human condition we have lost access to, because we access the egoistic sort of knowledge. So in the letting go, what happens is that it can seem very confusing because it is letting go of both ends. And the intellect, like a pendulum, can only go this way or that way. Neutrality, it cannot fathom. So even now the mind could be screaming, so what am I supposed to do then? You see, tell me an answer. What is he saying? Should I do or not do? You see, but I'm not saying either. I'm saying let go of every representation which represents you as a limited entity and allow your intuition to guide you. You see, and that is why you see that all the masters are also different. You see, if there was one template with which to live our life, then all the masters would have led the same life. You see, now in this case, you are well aware, of course, that this one is a householder, he's got job responsibilities, he's got a wife, he's got children. So that life plays out. In Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi's case, not a householder, just lived in Tiruvannamalai as a wandering sadhu and then built an ashram much later. You see, so you will notice that there's not a templatized way to be free or spiritual, because that doesn't sound like freedom at all. You see? So when we are empty of these conceptual ideas about who we are, we allow this life to take shape. And that is what trust means. So trust does not define a plan and say, okay, this has to happen, this doesn't have to happen, this is good, this is bad. It is not a righteous or ethical way of being. Neither is it unethical. You see, it is just allowing the intuitive guidance to guide you moment to moment. You see, so what should I do today? I don't know. You see, what should the rest of my day look like? I don't know really. You see, but I trust the intuitive insight to guide me. I trust it to guide me. So I'll just show up back in my house, You see, I don't know what the situation will be, what my daughter will want to do, whether she'll want to go out or not, what my wife, what her day would have been like. I don't know any of that. But I trust that the responses that will come from my heart will be appropriate for the situation. So that is what letting go. So where that takes you, we cannot know. But because now we also having insight about our reality, which is untouched by whatever may be happening in this play, you see, then there's not so much fear. Why do we want to know any of this? We want to know because we are fearful about what will happen to this one. You see, what will happen to this life? Am I making the wrong choice? Will I make a mess of my life? You see, will I not reach my objectives? Because we are worried about that. Once we start to rest more and more into our true nature, we will see that in God's intelligence, in the supreme intelligence, everything that is auspicious that needs to happen through this life will continue to happen. But we can't make a roadmap out of that. You see, this doesn't mean that you can't have a plan that I want to become CEO. Intuitively, if you're guided in the moment to say, okay, where is your career going? This is what I should be doing. Even that can happen. You see? But we don't get attached to that plan. We don't say, oh, it has to happen like this, otherwise my life is not going well. So everything can show up in the realm of the activity, but inwardly we remain open and empty and trusting the inward guidance moment to moment.
Thank you, sir. That really helps. I know what you have said is subtle and a bit nuanced. I do get the idea that the intuitive direction that one gets when one is closer to emptiness is more like letting go, in a sense of being neutral rather than being in the conceptual mind of, I have to follow my mind or I have to completely be on the opposite side. It will take time for me to be able to practice that and get there, and I'm okay with that. Let it take that time. Now, coming to that second point, sir, is you said that, okay, if one desires to be a CEO, whatever it is, do it, but do it with detachment. Now, if I were to extend that argument and to say, if an Olympic athlete wants to win the gold medal, they can't do it with detachment. Right? I mean, I want to win the gold. They have to put everything, their whole false ego and identity and the identification of the body into winning that gold medal, because that's how one can win that gold medal. And the conflict that I have in my mind is, if either me or somebody comes to me and says, I know I'm taking an extreme example that I want to win the Olympic gold medal. I just find that an answer like, yeah, go after it, but go after it with detachment. How will a person achieve something if they go after it with detachment because they're not giving their everything because of the detachment?
I'm glad you said that, because it sort of extends what we just spoke about. So saying approach everything with emptiness, but what happens, you see, because you're saying that the greatest performers then seem to be so much into it, but actually if you hear the reports, if you hear the reports of the greatest sportsmen, the greatest scientists, the greatest CEO, greatest whatever, what do they say? Like sportsmen sometimes say, I don't know, I just know that I was not thinking, I was in the zone. You see, something happened, I was in the zone. Like when we used to watch as youngsters Sachin bat, and say, this one, he just bats in the zone. He always has a few seconds extra. You see, then some football fans may watch Messi. See, how does he know that that one will be there, that defender will be there? He didn't even look up, you see. So what is that intelligence, intuitive intelligence that they're relying on? So in a way, they are more, from my perspective, they are more representatives of this intuitive intelligence than the egoistic one. You see, because how is it that some sportsmen are special, some scientists are special? You see, even Einstein said that I tried and tried and tried and tried, but when I just let go, you see, something just came to me. You see, something just came to me. This discovery, intuitively, it came to me, and many scientists have made that report. Many sportsmen say, you say, how do you have that extra time? How do you play like this? I don't know. I don't think about it. You see? I don't think about it. So I would say to you that There's also a book about this, and if you send me a message, I will write to you about how a famous tennis coach who coached some of the best players actually taught them to go more intuitive rather than more mental about their game. You see, allowed them to trust their intuitive. It's a very, very popular thing, and it got converted in the corporate world also. And he does many corporate lectures for CEOs and things also about how to achieve greater things like this. Not that I ever recommend trying to use your intuition for financial benefit or something, but it's fine. No? But we're just looking at that aspect of it. So I would really look and say, if you look at the cream of whatever arena, you will find one common report coming from them about this so-called zone, or just the mind became quiet. You see, if you listen to Michael Jordan, used to play, you say, I just used to play like in the play. No, I never used to think. Like all my planning and all would happen earlier. Whatever would happen when when I was on the field, I was just on the field. So I would
So
say,
if I may, if I may just, well, I understand that, and I really do, because I don't know whether you saw Neeraj Chopra's the gold medal throw, but he didn't even look where the javelin landed. The moment it left his hand, he raised his hands and he knew that he had done a good throw. Same with Michael Phelps. Before he goes to, he's a routine of 2.5 hours before the swim, and he's just like in that zone. I understand that, I accept that, and I'll imbibe that. The question, the residual question, the leaky roof, as you say, you plug one, another one that opens up, still is that, what does detachment mean? The way I have understood detachment conceptually is that, yeah, you desire something, you go after something, but if that doesn't happen, it's not like you kill yourself over it, or you become disappointed, dejected. I understand that zone, but these athletes, in order to get to that zone, have done it in a very attached manner to that role. I'm sorry, I'm debating and arguing.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's a worthy contemplation, and I'm happy to see if there's something like this. But I would feel like, even like so many people they try to work out, they try to build strength and things like that. You see, my sense about this is that somewhere they must be also following, even during their training regimen, all of that. Maybe they're allowing themselves to be open and empty, and really doing that. Anyway, I don't want to create this sort of misconception in all of us listening that, okay, now the way to achieve some material greatness is to just be open and empty and things. We can allow God to play that out, you see. So, but I can tell you that mostly what everyone wants is to have a life free of suffering. You see, if they achieve the greatest heights and still continue to suffer a lot, it's not a life which they will regret that life also. So whatever else it does or doesn't do, your intuitive guidance at least takes you away from the life of constriction, suffering, individuality. You see, and that is what everybody is clamoring for. All the other goals, in some way or the other, are provisional. You see, to us achieving that state of peace, to us achieving that state of contentment. So I would just say that allow God's will to run this life, which it is already doing anyway. But detachment, a good way to speak about detachment is, there's a poem by Harivansh Rai Bachchan. It's a very simple one. He says, "Man ka ho to acha, man ka na ho to aur bhi acha." You see? Which means if it is according to my mind, then good. But if it is not according to my mind, then even better. So if we can carry that, if we want to take an inward position about it before we can reach emptiness, then this approach is fine. It's good if it happens according to what I wanted. It's even better if it happens according to what I didn't want, because God wanted that. It's fine.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh. Very good. Let's play a bhajan and then we can close for the day. I want to apologize for those of you whose hands are still up, but we'll speak soon.
Radhe Radhe
One more. Good.
नंदी भृंगी गण देव मुनि सुजन यक्ष रक्ष सब नाचे सब नाचे नंदी भृंगी गण देव मुनि सुजन यक्ष रक्ष सब नाचे सब नाचे जग नाचे सब नाचे नाचो नाचो नट राजा नाचो नाचो नट राजा अम्बे गौरी सुत स्कंध हरि विनुत देव भूत सब नाचे सब नाचे अम्बे गौरी सुत स्कंध हरि विनुत देव भूत सब नाचे सब नाचे जग नाचे सब नाचे नाचो नाचो नट राजा नाचो नाचो नट राजा वेणु वीणा ध्वनि शंख डमरू भेरी वेद घोष नभ गूंजे नभ गूंजे वेणु वीणा ध्वनि शंख डमरू भेरी वेद घोष नभ गूंजे नभ गूंजे नभ गूंजे नभ गूंजे नभ गूंजे नभ गूंजे हरि ओम तत्सत हर ओम तत्सत हरि ओम तत्सत हर ओम तत्सत जागो जागो सुत जागो 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 नाचो नाचो नट राजा, 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 वेणु वीण ध्वनि शंख डमरु वेद घोष नभ गूंजे, नभ गूंजे, नभ गूंजे, नभ गूंजे, बरसे 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 रब दी मेहर बरसे, 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 बरसे 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 रब दी मेहर बरसे, बरसे 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 रब दी मेहर बरसे, नाचो नाचो नट राजा, 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 नाचो नाचो नट राजा.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Sadhguru Shri Ananta-Part ki Jai. Guru Kripa Kevalam.